Welcome to the Seeds of Discovery podcast, a space for exploring energy, intuition, and the deeper layers within. We're your hosts, Elaine Riley, Beth Blair, and Amanda McCaskill. Together, we guide conversations around Reiki, spirituality, astrology, and the subtle patterns that shape our lives, not as something to fix, but as something to witness, understand, and work in relationship with. This is a space for exploring your inner world, for noticing your patterns, your energy, and your natural rhythms so you can move through life with more awareness, intention, and alignment as you navigate the transitional pathways unfolding within you.
Hi. Hello. How are
Hey.
you? I was just
Nervous
talking to
laughter.
Fiona.
Come on, Fiona. Fiona wasn't here for the start, so she wasn't in her place. I think we got a little
Energetic for the last one.
for the last conversation talking about Gasho meditation in the last episode. And that rolls us into this next one, which is talking about, birds are singing.
Yeah.
Talking about spirituality versus religion. And the thing that shows up a lot of times in classes is religious trauma. Anybody got that?
Yeah. For
Hey,
sure. Definitely.
you picked this topic.
Well, I think, we were talking about the Gasho and it being in prayer position. And that we found is a trigger for some people, myself included. Because prayer position, we think, in religious context, we're connecting to God and we're praying, which I don't find any problem in. It's more the dogma that you have to do it in a certain way and you have to be in a certain place and you have to have your energy in a certain place in order to pray and connect to that source energy.
Honey, we raised Catholic and
Yep.
there were ways that you were not allowed to hold your hands because it wasn't
Exactly.
respectful.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
I think when we're talking in class about Gasho, the students clam right up sometimes because they don't know what to do. Yeah. But it really is that image. Am I doing it wrong? What am I doing? What should I be feeling? What should I be thinking about? No, I'm not supposed to be thinking about anything. And it spirals all from that position, which is crazy to me.
But okay, so crazy and right?
Yeah.
If we take it to the spirit mind body connection, you have muscle memory that triggers emotional, mental, and spiritual responses.
Yeah.
Right? So a posture, simply putting your hands together in prayer, and the word prayer can be a trigger too. The word God can be a trigger.
Okay.
It's been a trigger because of what we were physically doing in a construct that did not align with our spiritual sense. And I'm not dissing anyone who has religious beliefs.
No, not at all.
Follows a particular dogma, that kind of thing. What I will say is I had to shift away from that because it did not align with my energy and what I wanted out of my life because of a lot of the trauma that happened within the construct of church.
And that's just not our physical reality right now. It goes back generations.
Yeah.
So it's a lot built up in our little bodies.
It is. Well, you have your ancestors' memories, experiences in your DNA, and you carry that with you. So, like, if they were persecuted by a church or for being a particular belief segment, group, tribe, whatever the language is, right? You carry that subconsciously. And so when we come to a practice that is spiritual in nature, there be even just meditation, asking someone to sit still, however they're comfortable sitting still. creates a lot of discomfort because of that mind-body connection. So how do we get ourselves out of that?
Yeah.
What are the recommendations, and how do you shift from being not shift from one, because like I feel like that's saying one's right and one's wrong.
Yeah.
But how do you open to being spiritual, not religious, if that's your road?
Or both. I think the main thing is that realizing that they are two separate things that can actually live together.
Right.
So I feel like we're in the South, and a lot of times it is not what people think can blend together. That you can't be spiritual and religious at the same time. When I feel like that couldn't be farther from the truth.
Right.
His spirituality to me is connecting to source energy, to consciousness, to that God seed, and to each other, but not through specific practices, or you have to do this day, you have to be with these people, you can't talk to this person or do these things. To me, that's restricting energy.
Right.
And so spirituality is connecting straight to source.
Mm-hmm. And from, the neurodivergent side, rote prayers, routine, having to do the Catholic calisthenics that I grew up with, me actually away from the energy of the God source.
Yes.
Because I had to remember all the stuff that I had to do and when I was supposed to do it. And then it became routine, and the heart wasn't in it for me. That's me. Mm-hmm. There was a time in my life that I was very devoted into the church. Mm-hmm. And I think it was because I had beliefs that family members, husbands, friends would love me more because I was part of that community.
Yeah.
And that was the wrong reason for me to be there, because it didn't align with my authentic self. Not saying that it doesn't work for others, but it didn't work for me. And I was trying to be something I wasn't. Mm-hmm. It took a while. Took a while, took some healing, took some releasing some religious trauma, to finally step into the place where I am most spiritual, which is outside in nature, number one, and then in stillness and in art for me.
Yeah.
Is the place that I am probably the most spiritual. Yeah. So how do we help people with
I think the thing that's coming in most significantly for me is the fact that I feel like people just think they're doing it wrong. And when you're in that strict religion, like, I grew up Catholic as well. And there's just always that feeling like I'm not good enough. I'm doing something wrong. It's, yeah.
Well,
so,
go ahead.
When we're talking about it from a spiritual sense, even in our classes, like that's the energy that everybody comes in with. Like, I think I'm doing it wrong. I'm not feeling it in a certain way. We talked about this in the Gashow. I don't feel it like she does, or I don't hear it like she does, or that kind of thing. So that I feel like the main thing is just to let go and connect to the energy, whatever that is, whether that's God, whether that's religion, whether that's spirituality, whether that's Reiki, in your own way.
Right.
With your own path and your own sense of self, not what we say, not what somebody else says, not what a book says. How do you connect with it? Like you were talking about walking and earth. That's how you connect to your heaven on earth.
That is. Mm-hmm. That is. The reason I got I wanted to trample over what you were saying is because growing up as a kid, okay, so there are two stories that I want to share about growing up Catholic. One is, okay, this is terrible, but it's true. So this was during the 70s, so I'm aging myself, but there you go. my mother was so angry at the church that she would not go to church. Okay. But we, as children, went to a Catholic school.
Mhm.
So we, children, had to go to church. Mom did not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
They would drop us off at church. See you in an hour.
Mhm.
See you in an hour. And they would go do errands, go have brunch. I don't know. Who knows what my parents were doing then? But like, I can remember sitting in the gas station parking lot next to the church, just waiting for my parents to pick us up.
Mm.
Okay, so that's story number one. Story number two is I am a very hope-filled person. Okay. The belief that I was told to have was there was no point in thinking that you were ever going to go to heaven without having to pass through purgatory. You were going to have, like, because you're a sinner.
Yeah.
So you're not good enough.
Mhm.
You're never good enough to go to heaven. And I'm thinking,
Wow.
well,
What's the point?
exactly. What's the point? And I'm thinking, but like, I have hope. And I don't mean disrespect to anybody whose faith-based is this, but I'm saying from my perspective, these are the things
Mhm.
that showed up in my neurodivergent mind,
Yeah.
of which I didn't understand neurodivergence at that
Mhm.
point. So there would be that hyper focus on failure,
Mhm.
and to live that for years
Yeah.
as there's no hope.
Yeah.
I would say did create a lot of religious trauma,
I
right?
can see
Like,
that.
and to be in a place where I have hope,
Mhm.
okay, regardless of what's going on in the world,
Mhm.
there is always a seed of hope in my heart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And it's because I'm mystified by the divine expression in the world as I am out in nature, as I am practicing my energy work,
Mhm.
as I'm creating art. I get mystified and blown away so many times that it instills a richness
Yeah.
that can't be contained in a box of religion for me.
No, I like that. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't know it was going there. I got to be
No,
honest with you.
yeah, right.
Had no idea those stories were coming up. And I think that that's part of the practice too, is being willing to share these places.
Yeah. It's the shadow work. It's the shadowy stuff that
Yeah, the dark and
most
twisty.
people stick in the box and don't look at it again, or they look at it by themselves.
Mm,
And that just puts us in a spiral of hiding
Right.
and thinking that it's wrong again. There's that thinking it's wrong or thinking it's bad.
well, but like if I go back to the story of my mom, right?
Mhm.
There is some powerful modeling of her doing her work, right?
Yeah.
She was standing in her belief,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
But she was constrained by the rules of the school that she was paying for us to go to,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And we were not wealthy by any means, right? So, it's like but she felt that the Catholic education was where we needed to be.
Mhm.
And I think if I look at it from that perspective, looking at my mother's humanness, right? And appreciating her conflict, her soul
Yeah.
conflict, right?
Yeah.
In there
Mhm.
of I have to do right by these kids and I am not going in there because
Mhm.
of all that.
Yeah.
Later in life she came back to the church and, really wanted that church community life kind of thing.
Mhm.
And it suited her, that's what she wanted.
Yeah.
But I do find it interesting and looking at the examples, like who's a person in your life that gives you an example of something like that through spirituality and religion. I'm going to put you on the spot too.
Thanks.
Show your underwear drawer too, would you?
Pretty much my whole family. So I always joke that my mom, she went to a Catholic school, met my dad, was in a great situation all the time, left it, and then came back when my sisters were born. My sisters are 13 years younger than me. So I always joke that we grew up very differently with two different moms. So my sisters went to Catholic school. They went to Catholic high school. My mom taught at Catholic high school, which I had none of that really growing up.
Okay.
I came into religion when I was 13, when, she met my stepdad and my sisters came in the picture. That's when we came back around to Catholicism.
Okay.
So I didn't really have a relationship with religion before that. And at that time, I was very spicy. I read everything I could get my hands on. I wanted to learn everything. So
that hasn't changed.
No. So when she presented like this new religion, this is what we're going to do, and there's a book, and I'm like, game on. I'm all about it. Well, I read that book, and I did not like it. I did not like what was in there. And then that gave me this feeling of, oh, crap. This is supposed to be what I'm doing. This is supposed to be how I'm living my life. But it doesn't align with what I feel.
Okay.
And so that was a big struggle. And it's been a struggle. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
My whole life.
Yeah.
Because they are very religious and I respect that. That's not how I feel.
Right. But you can honor their path and yours at the same time. And they are honoring your path.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Yeah. I'm a crazy sister, crazy daughter that bathes under the moon and all that kind of stuff.
But
But what I think is funny is that one of my main guides that comes in is Jesus. And when he first came in, I'm like, are you sure you're here for me?
Are you in the right room?
Right. Because I don't think this is. And he's like, no.
Let's sit down and talk, Elaine.
Yep. And so I have a closer relationship now with Jesus than I ever did in religion. But I have a direct relationship with him.
Right.
Which I think is funny. But yeah, the first time he came in, I'm like, you sure?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Don't you need to be 2 doors down?
Yeah. So it's interesting how that works.
It is. Well, and I think you freed yourself.
Yeah.
Through your shadow work to heal those places where you felt like, hey, wait a minute, this isn't for me, or I don't fit here. How do I put these pieces together?
Yeah.
And the trauma that created. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So, wow. I mean, I'm just like,
where do we go?
Where do we go from there? Wow.
So religious trauma. Yeah, we have it. Who else?
Right. Well, and so then, okay, so coming back to the Reiki aspect of it, right? And the Gashao that we talked about in the last episode, those are the practices that help heal the religious trauma.
Because you're rewiring your brain to think about it.
Yeah.
In a different way.
Yeah. And I send Reiki continually back to my younger self.
Yeah.
Back to my previous self, to my mother, who is no longer of this plane, right? And I also send it to my future self, asking her to send me some Reiki now, like to help me get through. But that's part of the process because, the religious trauma thing, it comes around in different places. And each time it comes around, each time those stories come around, each time I come back to that place and I remember something else, I am looking at it from a different perspective, hopefully more healed, hopefully more open, hopefully more accepted. And see, there's that hope piece that I've always had. Hope is something that is in my DNA. It's probably one of the main components of my DNA. Not in a Pollyanna kind of way. But I do carry that. And I hope that I radiate that. And my spirituality feeds that and keeps igniting that. Wowzers.
Yeah, right?
We are on the money, man. It always fascinates me when we sit down to have conversation.
Yeah.
To record podcasts because we don't script it out.
We barely have a topic. Let's be honest.
Okay, now you're really showing the underwear drawer, but that's following the energy.
Mhm.
And to me, that is a tenet of the Seeds of Discovery is that it's a cardinal rule that we as Capricorns, like rules, have to follow the energy. Okay. Sorry. Fiona was, if you heard all that scuffling, she had to circle on the sofa behind the camera. She is, I think we've worn her out today with our energy.
Yeah.
So, religious trauma, spirituality.
Yeah.
Weigh it out.
Mm-hmm.
Curious if there's listeners who want to have conversation around that or have a question around that, can relate.
Yeah. It's a big one.
Because it does show up in the Reiki classes. It shows up in your Akashic record readings. It shows up in astrology reads. Shows up in human design. It shows up in feng shui. Like there are places in the home that get out of balance, and some of it, while there is not a religious sector, think about the ancestors sector, or the center, health center in feng shui, or the healthful people. Okay, Jesus showing up.
Yeah,
I would consider him a helpful
He's
person.
very helpful. Yes,
and my devotion to Kuan Yin. She is helpful. Goddess of compassion. I don't know what I would do without her. To be honest with you. So it is an interesting way that we come around and work through these things on all of those aspects.
Because we connect to religion in a spiritual way. So that we connect to the religious archetypes, the people.
Right.
And I think that's the part that trips a lot of people up when we're talking about religion versus spirituality. Like, yes, I work with Jesus, but I also work with all the other gods as well. Believing that there's multiple gods.
Right.
Energy.
To me, it's what is it that I need in my human experience to help me on my divine path?
Yeah.
So today it might be Jesus. Tomorrow it might be Kuan Yin. It might be Archangel Michael. It might be a totem animal that shows up.
Yeah.
A sacred tree. I have to follow that.
Yeah.
I have to follow the energy.
Same.
My goodness. Well, I'm going to end that one with Gashao. I'm going to come back in here and say, let me just come back to that prayer and honor it and appreciate it. And say until next time, I think.
I like that. All right.
A lot of nervous laughter.
Thank you for being here with us. Take a moment to notice what resonated, what shifted, what opened, and what might be asking for your attention. This work isn't about having all the answers. It's about learning to witness yourself with curiosity, compassion, and presence as you move through your own transitional pathways. Until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and keep discovering.